Welcome back to Daily AI News at Let's Data Science. It's 9th August 2026. Today, we're diving into some pivotal developments from the future of machine intelligence to major product launches. Let's get to it. Our top story today: NVIDIA is reportedly moving deeper into the physical infrastructure behind artificial intelligence. According to the information, NVIDIA agreed to invest up to $3 billion in Blackstone backed power infrastructure developer Lancium. The reported structure starts with a $2 billion equity investment for roughly a 20% stake, with another $1 billion contingent on milestones including grid hookups. NVIDIA and Lancium had not publicly confirmed the reported terms. Lancium owns the 1,000-acre Lancium Clean Campus in Abilene, Texas, which Reuters has identified as the first operational site of Stargate, the data center initiative involving SoftBank, OpenAI, and Oracle. The information's reporting puts Lancium and its portfolio of land and power connections at roughly $10 billion in enterprise value, including debt and NVIDIA's investment. The significance for infrastructure teams goes beyond financing. Accelerator supply is only useful when sites have electricity, networking, and grid connections available to run those accelerators. By reportedly taking an ownership stake in a developer holding power and land assets, NVIDIA would be investing directly in one of the major bottlenecks constraining artificial intelligence compute deployment. And making as much as $1 billion conditional on milestones, including grid hookups, puts that constraint directly into the economics of the deal. From infrastructure constraints to agent security, Atlassian Rovo is illustrating the risks of giving artificial intelligence access to enterprise systems. Researchers disclosed two distinct techniques that could cause Rovo to retrieve information available under an authenticated user's permissions and transmit it externally. Varonis Threat Labs documented RovoBlast, involving the Rovo chat prompt parameter in Rovo chat links. A crafted link could supply a prompt that caused Rovo to search accessible content and potentially send retrieved values to an attacker-controlled host. BugCrowd marks that vulnerability resolved, and the Hacker News reported that Atlassian deployed a server-side fix on July 8th. PromptArmor documented a separate, indirect prompt injection path using malicious instructions concealed in a document. In its demonstration, Rovo searched Jira and Confluence, placed retrieved content into an attacker-controlled URL, and opened that URL. PromptArmor said disabling Rovo web search did not prevent its demonstration and reported on August 5th that this distinct technique remained exploitable. The available disclosures do not establish its subsequent remediation status. Both attacks matter because they abuse legitimate permissions rather than directly bypassing authorization. Rovo can work across Jira, Confluence, and connected services, meaning the potential exposure follows each user's entitlements. For teams deploying enterprise agents, the findings emphasize connector scope, outbound URL controls, prompt injection defenses, audit visibility, and least privilege access. That same question of infrastructure becomes enormous in Texas, where Amazon has confirmed plans for an artificial intelligence data center campus with dedicated power. Amazon acquired a site in Pecos County tied initially to Pacifico Energy's proposed GW Ranch project, which is permitted for up to 7.65 gigawatts of natural gas generation. Reporting says the project would use 35 gas turbines and initially operate apart from the Texas grid. Amazon said the campus is designed to transition to grid-connected service when interconnection timelines allow. It is also exploring on-site solar and battery storage and says it plans to use non-potable brackish groundwater. Texas Commission on Environmental Quality records show Pacifico GW received state air permits in January. Those permits allow up to 33 million metric tons of greenhouse gas emissions annually. That number is a regulatory ceiling, not a forecast of actual emissions, an important distinction when assessing the project's impact. Amazon says it remains committed to its climate pledge goal of net zero carbon emissions by 2040. For infrastructure engineers, GW Ranch shows why artificial intelligence deployment is increasingly a power engineering problem as much as a compute problem. Behind-the-meter generation can bypass long interconnection waits, but it introduces dependencies on turbine delivery, natural gas supply, emissions compliance, water planning, reliability, and eventual grid integration. From powering artificial intelligence to letting agents act on sensitive financial systems, N3XT has launched N3XT MCP. The product uses the Open Model Context Protocol to connect approved corporate artificial intelligence assistants with live banking data. N3XT says clients can query account information, draft payments, generate reports, flag discrepancies, create escalation workflows, and build programmable payment processes without relying on one-off connectors. The launch is a useful test of Model Context Protocol governance because banking exposes the difference between giving an agent information and giving it authority to act. N3XT says the service respects existing user permissions and maker-checker controls and keeps queries inside the client environment. Those are vendor claims. The available launch materials do not provide an independent security assessment, detailed deployment architecture, customer benchmarks, or proof covering every supported artificial intelligence client. For teams evaluating N3XT MCP, the key questions are therefore concrete. What tools does the server expose? Which users and agents can invoke them? Which write operations require human approval? And are authentication, transaction logs, retention, failure behavior, and outbound network controls sufficiently auditable? Model Context Protocol can standardize the technical interface to banking services, but it does not automatically standardize the authorization and security controls behind those services. From financial workflows to media workflows, EW Script says it is cutting 268 jobs while shifting a dozen stations toward 24/7 local news streams supported by artificial intelligence and automation. Scripps-owned KGTV describes tools for converting broadcast scripts into web drafts, triaging government documents, and checking scripts against ethics guidance. Editors and news managers retain final review, but Scripps has not publicly identified the models, vendors, error rates, or evaluation methods involved. Where Scripps is automating information work, Malaysia's Puspacom is applying artificial intelligence to physical inspections. Its KeyMag-developed system analyzes undercarriage images from heavy commercial vehicles and flags issues including corrosion, oil leaks, brake faults, axle defects, and structural damage. Puspacom reports inspection time falling from around 10 minutes to roughly 1 minute. Crucially, Puspacom vehicle examiners retain the final pass-or-fail decision, while published accuracy and error rate data remain unavailable. Back on the infrastructure front, the Justice Department is seeking to intervene and dismiss the NAACP's Clean Air Act lawsuit against XAI and subsidiary MZX Tech. The suit alleges 27 gas turbines supporting XAI's Colossus II near Memphis operated without required permits and controls, allegations the court has not decided. The Justice Department argues executive enforcement authority can override the citizen suit when federal policy and national security interests point against it. The court has not ruled on that theory. From legal attribution to search attribution, Kevin Indig's H1 2026 AI halftime report finds major fragmentation across answer engines. His consensus gap analysis examined 3.7 million URL citations across ChatGPT, Perplexity, and Google AI overviews, finding that 91% appeared on only one platform. The practical takeaway is that one engine cannot reliably stand in for cross-platform visibility. Measurement programs need engine-specific prompts, repeated sampling, timestamps, personalization context, cited domains, and downstream conversion data. Turning from measuring Google to Google's own workflow tools, Workspace Studio is gaining an echelon and add a source to Gemini Notebook step. Google began the gradual rollout on August 6th, with availability potentially taking 15 business days. Eligible business, enterprise, and education customers can automate additions of text, Google Drive file links, YouTube links, and web URLs to Gemini Notebooks. The update automates ingestion, not retrieval or reasoning, so source permissions, freshness, duplicate handling, and workflow failures remain important operational questions. And finally, artificial intelligence is showing up in another production workflow: music. Tyga confirmed to Vibe that AI was used as a tool on his July 31st album, Dollar Tarfus. He said the technology helped provide 1980s-style synth sounds and a guitar solo, while stating that the writing and vocals were his own. Taiga compared adoption to Autotune, but did not identify the AI system, vendor, specific tracks, workflow, training data provenance, or rights clearance process. And that's your AI briefing for today. The landscape is moving faster than ever, and we'll be here to track it with you. For more insights, visit us at letsdatascience.com. Thanks for tuning in, stay curious, and we'll be back tomorrow with the latest in AI.